All right. So we're going to go straight into your stuff,
Sweet.
Theodora. Is that how you pronounce your name or
Yeah.
your handle?
Yeah, that's right. Theodora, and it's my name.
Cool. All right. So before we start, could you maybe tell me? So we're going to look at your glowing manta ray scene. So I'm wondering whether you could maybe start off by telling me some background about this scene and how you came about lighting it.
So, I've got two takes of the scene, and initially, actually, even the first one, I was looking at references from Life of Pi and from Moana, because they both have scenes with blue, glowing sea life underneath them. One of the two has the starry background sky. When I saw this, I kind of immediately pictured that glowing water, uplight kind of a look.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and so those two really kind of drove this, and yeah, and with it, the biggest problem I've been working around is that for the manta ray to get the glow, basically I took the texture map from the color and I also put that into the incandescent, and then I used the color shift on the incandescent to kind of get my glow and exposure. The
mm,
problem with that is using that, I don't have the light controls that you usually have with an Arnold light, like decay or light blockers. So to try to control that light, I've actually made there's some surfaces under the water that you can't really see on camera, but I'm using them to block light, and just kind of making them partially translucent to kind of make up a light blocker since I don't have that access to the Arnold light blockers.
okay. Yep. And um, so I'm seeing. So you're saying like the fall off of the light. It's is are you having some? Is that posing a challenge for you?
Yeah, to
Mm,
control the fall off instead of having the normal way, if I were just using an area light, then I could use light decay or I could use a light blocker. So for
sure.
this to control the fall off, I've made some basically oval planes that are partially translucent, that are hiding under the water, that are blocking some of that light screen, like the lower screen left. You can kind of see a line,
Gotcha.
just, yeah, you see that line there across.
Yep.
That's actually an oval under the water to block light.
Ah, I
Um,
see.
yeah,
I
and
was
then I
wondering
also
what that
played with,
was.
yeah, and then I played with the material itself. With its, I just here, let me. And then I played with the material itself. Initially, it was a thin walled material, and so I
Mm,
turned off the thin walled so that I could use the refraction to help kind of see the water. And when I did that, it also helped control just how far that glow was going on the surface, because more of it got kind of eaten up in the refraction.
gotcha. And the lights that are illuminating the subjects, the mermaid and the fisherman, are they the same lights, or are you using another set of lights to illuminate them?
They have another set of lights.
Yep.
So they have an area light that's rectangular shaped that's just to camera left of the two characters.
Yep.
You can see it kind of in between the manta ray and the characters. And so that kind of, if I relied on just the light from the manta ray, it'd be too dim and it'd be too
Mm,
low. So
yep.
that helps wrap the light kind of higher up. And then they have a spotlight that's kind of up, like high to the right, that is getting kind of that backside and the rim,
Right.
on each of them. There's actually like a pair of spotlights to do that to get kind of better coverage of both of them.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood. I'm wondering because my first um, reaction to the scene is that it feels like the lighting on them is a bit harsh, or it's a very focused and very harsh light. and I feel like there's kind of a separation between what's happening with the light being emitted by the manta ray and um, the quality of the light that's hitting the subjects here. And I know that you used a different set of lights, but I'm wondering with the area light that you used, if you could. Uh, I'm guessing it's like something like that. Yeah.
Something like that, but it's actually even in closer, like closer and lower and wider.
Gotcha. So I'm wondering whether you could maybe like really exaggerate the size and make it quite big.
Okay, yeah, make it larger and
Really,
soften it up.
like really, really large. Like, just kind of really exaggerate it. And if not, if not already there, maybe angle it down from, you know, uh, so it looks like it's coming from below, above.
Okay.
And the fact that it's large, it should give you um, quite a bit of a spread, so you don't have to worry about it, um, you know, directionally being too spot on. It can be kind of in the general ballpark in terms of the angle. But I think what you'll
Okay.
see is that the light will soften, and you'll see it. You'll see it spread um, from
Okay.
a sort of a larger amount of angles. Um, and yeah, so I would recommend doing that first. See what you get. Um, Hopefully, it should soften and diffuse the light that's hitting the subjects because right now it does feel like you've got a spotlight. It's very kind of stagey. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
that's how I'm reading it right now. So, and it's basically just a function of the fact that the light's too focused and it just needs to be more diffuse.
Okay.
Um, so now I understand the why you're getting that line across there. I'm wondering whether there's any way to soften that that edge. Um,
Yeah, I spent some time on that's something I just need some more time to get that right as well, because it's kind of tweaky, let it render out some so that you see what it really is gonna look like.
mm,
It's so there's actually a line of like 6 of those ovals, and it's the first one that you see, but it manages to go to black by the corner because there's kind of progressively more cutting out light as it gets further.
all right, so it's
Uh,
kind of like is it kind of like this,
yeah, it's kinda like that underneath there.
right?
I had to figure out some clever tricks. And it's like that actually under the other side towards the corner there, but I managed to get that like balance of the height right that you don't see any lines.
Right. And in Arnold, can you light link? Can you just have a light and just say ignore anything, everything in the scene besides the surface,
Y-
the water surface?
So you can light link anything that's a light. Unfortunately, you cannot light link if you're using incandescent from a surface, is what I found. At least what I've found so far.
Hmm.
I'm also only a month and a half into using Maya, so there's things I'm still figuring out.
Yeah,
But I haven't found a way to light link when I'm using just the incandescence of a surface material.
yeah. I'm wondering whether um, you could try just having like a spherical light here where the manta ray is, and have it just affect the water surface.
Yeah, I did try that
Yep.
for a couple of hours last night,
Mm.
and eventually, after trying it for a while, I abandoned the iteration and went back to my previous iteration because it
Okay.
just was not doing what I wanted it to. But I
Gotcha.
I had tried. I also tried doing a little essentially forced perspective with that manta ray to get it to appear under the waves the way I wanted to, while illuminating the water I wanted to in the right way.
Yep.
Um, but in the
Okay.
end, I don't exactly understand why it didn't work the way I wanted it to necessarily, though, because I tried to get a circular area light from
Mm.
Arnold to ignore, basically just had it only pay attention to the plane. I just
Right.
wanted to light the water on the
Yep.
plane, but it still left this weird drop shadow looking thing from the manta. And I don't know why I couldn't get it to ignore
Oh, right.
the
So it couldn't
manta.
ignore the manta. It didn't ignore the manta like you wanted it to.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Mm.
ignore the manta while like I wanted it, and I wonder if that was because the manta had a glow to it or not. I'm not sure, but that's something I still need to, or
You
maybe I
could
just needed to
try.
reload
You
something.
could try having like building another scene where the manta's
Mhm.
actually not there at all, and all you have is
Yeah,
the
and
surface of the
pop
water
it
and
in.
the light. So you have just the light and just the water surface. That's all you have in the scene, and see what results you can get. Because
Yeah,
perhaps you could try, a separate scene where you light the water, and nothing else, and then you can just do a pass of that, and then composite that in later on, and not have the manta ray in the scene at all.
yeah, I think that might ultimately be the way to go because I was also thinking of because like if you look at the reference for Moana, there's this kind of magical, like sprite kind of stuff in the water, right all around it. And I was thinking of kind of, I'm not into the point of doing Houdini or effects for that yet, but I
Mm,
was thinking of using just a plane and using like an incandescence map on that plane to give kind of
mm,
glowy effects and just put that effect onto a map.
yes,
And then composite that in there is something I was thinking of doing with that.
yeah, totally. That could definitely work. You should give it a go for sure.
And I just got to get out the Wacom and do a little drawing. Should be fun.
Cool. All right. Well, I mean, in general, it's looking pretty cool. So, um, if you could perhaps try that um, really big area light to light the characters and to see what you get. I'm hoping that it'll soften the focus of the light because right now it's
Okay.
it's definitely reading too harsh.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
All right. So next we've got your mermaid scene, and I see that uh, you've added sort of a light to screen left to sort of illuminate the mermaid's face on the screen left side a little bit.
Yeah, there's actually I already had a light there, and I just had to bring the level up on it.
Yep.
It's the same light and you'll notice the boy's back changes some too because it's the same light that's getting his back
Yep.
shoulder area there.
Gotcha. So that's been moved to where her face is. Okay. And then the sunlight feels like it's shifted position as well.
Yeah, I lost a spotlight in my save file, so I just had to put a new spotlight in that spot that made the specular trail down the water.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, there's a different when I loaded up my saved file, there were a couple of things that were not the same.
mm, okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it doesn't detract from the scene, so I think it's fine. Um,
I did lose some of the pink that's on the boy's hat, I'm noticing as you flip back and forth. That
Yes.
that yeah, that's not an intentional change.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind it going a little bit darker though. So I don't know whether that's a happy accident.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it, but it's just it wasn't on purpose.
Hmm,
I don't wanna take credit for a change I didn't do on purpose.
sure. Um, okay. So I feel like it's still, it does still feel really flat, and her face definitely needs some more light to sculpt it. And I'm wondering whether it is just a matter of, bringing the levels up on her face there with the light that you have. It's just I'm totally gonna exaggerate this. I'm wondering whether it needs to come up some more.
I can give it a shot, yeah.
Yeah.
Might add a second light then to help that first one out that doesn't spill everywhere, so it just brings that up without bringing other.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could definitely add a helper light. Like a really
Yeah, I'll bring
soft,
it there.
really kind of soft light, just to illuminate. I feel like this side needs um, illumination, and then you've got the contrast to the shadow side here, or the core, before it lightens up again here, which is actually working. I feel like it's working pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it really is just um, my sense is that you're pretty much done, except for just trying to
Getting that
get some
area
more
right.
shaping on her face. Um, but yeah, that's just a matter of adding additional lights and positioning it in the right way so that you have a kind of a pleasing light to shadow kind of ratio on the face, because right now it's too evenly lit. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's
perfect.
it's looking good.
I'll put a little helper lighter in there.
Cool. All right, so that's it for your work, and I might just go up to the next one. So this is Joey. So Joey, you've done an iteration on your original setup. I see that you've worked on the spec quality of the skin on your subjects, and it's definitely looking a lot better. So the spec now is way less pronounced, more diffuse, and I think um, that matches the reference of Samuel L. Jackson a lot better. Also, you've got some bluish color tint on screen left. That's working really well to sort of get that sort of kicker light onto his face. I would see if you can. I'm not going to do it very well, but see if you can get maybe some highlights on uh, his eyes there, just to kind of get a bit more life into his eyes. It can be, super subtle. You can have like a little, like a little area light that's sort of light linked to the eyes here. What else? Yeah, I still feel like I know that you've adjusted the subsurface on the woman's skin, and I do feel like it's less glowy, especially on the tip of the nose and the ear. But it's still reading to me. It's still reading like perhaps it's the blue mixing with the warmish light, but it still reads like something not quite right with this subsurface shader, and it's overly transmissive. I'm wondering whether you could have a go at perhaps lowering the transmission on the skin there, see whether that works. And also, again, maybe try just getting, again, she looks possessed, but try to get some more highlight onto the eyes there. Super, super subtle. And in terms of the layout and the dressing, it is quite distracting to read. The texturing on these. On the sofa here, it's I don't know whether it's displacement or the pop map, but that needs to come down and perhaps scaled to read a lot more granular, a lot more finer, because it is quite distracting. Same here. Perhaps you could maybe work on some shading here as well. Yeah, overall, I'm wondering whether you could introduce some more warm light on this side, so that the light that's hitting the woman and him could warm up a little bit more on this side. I feel like this side is, feeling pretty nice in terms of the color temperature. So yeah, so I think this side's looking pretty good. Again, the eyes sort of drawn into lack of detail. So I'm wondering whether you could work on, do some shader work on the curtains here and these elements down here, as well as the sofa. Okay, but yep, coming along. And MHD Hiron. So this is your latest iteration. I see that you've had quite a bit of feedback from Justine, and it's looking really nice. And my only comment is that I feel like this side could go darker. So I'm wondering whether you could see what you get by, just playing this side darker. Just so the eyes, the eyes drawn here, and there's less of a distraction with the foreground ground plane. So yeah, I would have a go at just darkening here as well. I've obviously overdone it, but you get the idea, yeah. But otherwise, I think it's in a really good place. Alrighty, thank you very much. All right, so I think that's it for this week. I don't think there's anything else to look at. Um, but yeah, so thanks for dropping in, Theodora, and it's good to see your work. And during the week, I'll be doing rolling crits as well as these weekly live crits every Saturday at 6 p.m. EST.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, thank you so much for the feedback, and
you're welcome.
I'm hoping to start on something new this week that'll be animated instead of just still. So,
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing it.
and thank you so much. See you soon.
All right, take care.